One time a YouTube ad gave me one of the best pieces of life-altering advice I have ever heard. The advice was this, that the difference between successful and unsuccessful people is simple. Successful people seek education, whereas unsuccessful people seek entertainment. Admittedly, hearing somebody else say this out loud made me feel validated, because I had been practicing this same tactic for over 2 years without any sort of definition of what it was. Modern entertainment like Netflix and video games had stopped giving me any sort of deep fulfillment, so I started reading books and taking online courses in my free time. But then I had a sinking feeling in my gut. Because whenever I see business and lifestyle coaches like this guy in the YouTube ad, they always seem like they're not having fun. They seem stiff and like their life is all about proving that they are somehow better than everyone else around them, and that is something I do not want to be. So I found myself questioning my ways. Was I really just agreeing with this guy because I had become a workaholic who needed an ego boost, or was there actually something to this method? So I thought back on the years of education over entertainment and was thrilled to see that in literally every aspect of my life, I feel like I am now having more fun than I did a few years ago. This led me to a more profound realization about this piece of advice. Ironically, my life now felt more entertaining than when I was putting a lot of time and energy into seeking entertainment. Rather than spending time seeking external entertainment, I find myself bringing an intrinsically entertained attitude towards the things I'm doing. Take writing an essay, for example. In the past, I would have dreaded having to write an essay about a topic I'm not very inspired by. But after just taking one short course on creative writing, I find myself bringing a much more engaged and enthusiastic attitude towards the essay writing process. Throughout the last 2 years of university, I've had countless discussions with classmates about how stressed they are about a certain essay that we need to write. When I ask them more about it, they pretty much always say that they're just excited for when the essay is done and they can move on to doing more fun things with their time. And I used to have the same exact mindset as well. We are so used to thinking about achieving results that all we are thinking about is how quickly we can get there, rather than learning to enjoy the process. And it is learning to enjoy the process that makes your life better, because your life isn't just results, your life is the process. This led me to a mindset shift that completely changed my life. The mindset shift is this, that humans are not naturally seeking quick results, we are seeking deep engagement. Quick results give short-term satisfaction, whereas deep engagement leads to long-term fulfillment. And long-term fulfillment doesn't mean getting rid of all short-term satisfactions. It means that short-term satisfactions just build to something fulfilling rather than quickly burning out. You may be thinking, okay, so it's a cool realization that long-term fulfillment is what matters, but I'm still drawn to these quick results and quick fixes. And I feel you. So let's talk about how this mindset shift is actually applicable to our lives. Mindset is a pretty abstract term, so for this video, I'm gonna define it as the outline to habits. What I mean by this is that all habits you take on will fit inside of the mindset you're holding. For example, if your mindset is that material goods will bring you happiness, then you are going to take on a lot of habits of purchasing material goods. If, however, your mindset is that relationships will bring you happiness, then you will habitually reach out to friends and make plans with them. As we can see here, one of these will probably lead to a more fulfilling life. When creating the life we want, I think it's more important to focus on mindsets than habits for this exact reason. Changing one habit is a great thing, but shifting your overall mindset will begin to change all of your habits naturally. So how do we change our mindsets? Well, there's a whole lot of approaches we can take here, but what I have found the key to it all is our identity. What we identify with gives our physical existence meaning. It shapes our realities and what we are and how we act. Think about when you identify yourself with a group of friends. You start to take on their habits. You start to say the things that they say. You start to think the way that they think, and you start to like the things that they like. As social animals, we want to feel accepted. So whatever we identify ourselves with is what we mold ourselves into, because we want to be accepted by that thing that we are identifying ourselves with, such as a group of friends. Most of the time, however, we are not choosing our identities consciously. Instead, we identify ourselves with whatever we are already comfortable with. Things that we are comfortable with are things that we have already been accepted by. Therefore, it's easy to get trapped in our identities, as we already feel comfortable and accepted in the identities we hold. Leaving these identities is uncomfortable because it means having to search for this acceptance again. For example, let's say Jimmy wants to quit his habit of drinking alcohol every weekend. If he takes the habitual approach to changing this action, he will stop going to the bars that he used to go to. When he stops going to the bars, he starts to miss his friends who he made at the bars. Imagine these are his closest friends, the ones who he identifies most with. Leaving them is isolating, and he misses them deeply and lacks that feeling of acceptance. When he starts to feel lonely and his friends reach out to him saying, "Where are you? You should come to the bar," he'll eventually go back to the bar because he's seeking that acceptance. Once he gets there, it's very easy for him to start drinking again, because that makes him feel accepted and loved, and that is a beautiful thing. But of course, after drinking, he gets home and is upset with himself because he wasn't able to stick to that habitual change he wanted to make. Situations like this lead us to feel powerless, because it seems like our drive for quick fix results has control over us. But what if quick fixes aren't the problem? Quick fixes are simply trying to have you feel accepted by what you identify with. That is why the key to mindset change is our identity. Our identity becomes a guiding light for what we want to be accepted by, and therefore what our quick fixes are moving us towards. If we identify ourselves with long-term fulfillment, then our quick fixes can become the spark to our fulfillment. Do you see what we did there? We used quick fixes as a tool rather than a hindrance. Quick fixes and short-term satisfactions are actually an immensely powerful part of being a human. When we were living in the wild trying to survive, finding a patch of berries, picking them and eating them immediately gave us deep satisfaction. Our quick fixes and satisfactions were aligned with our identification of wanting to survive. Today, our identifications that are mostly free from this need to survive are hijacked by people and companies who are trying to tell you what you should be identified with. If you take conscious control of your identity, then you take conscious control of your destiny, simply because you are deciding where those quick fixes should be working towards. The simple question is, do you want this tool of quick fixes to work towards fulfillment or not? Although choosing fulfillment does mean taking more responsibility over your life, it also means you now having the freedom to live how you want. So I hope you choose fulfillment. So let's talk about how we can do that. A simple way that I've found to start doing this is by identifying the identities that we currently hold and identifying the identities that we want to hold. We can do this with a simple practice. Take a piece of paper and split it in half. Write past identities on one side and present identities on the other side. In the past section, write all the identities that you have been holding up until this moment. And on the present side, write all the identities you will hold from this moment on. We are writing present identities rather than future identities because we never get to the future. We only experience present, and therefore we need to choose the identities that we want to embody right now. It's great if you have some of the same identities in both lists. This practice is about exactly that. Finding all the identities we are holding right now and seeing which ones we are happy with and which ones we are not happy with. Once you have this list of identities, you can also go through and brainstorm the quick fixes that you habitually took with those past identities and contrast those with the quick fixes you will now take with the new identities. Once you have this list, you will be able to consciously start distancing yourself from those old identities and aligning with your present identities. Bazinga! There you have it, folks. So as a quick reflection, what we just did was talk about an overall mindset shift from a focus on quick fix results to a focus on long-term fulfillment. How we are able to do that is by shifting our entire mindset, which is done by shifting our identities. I hope that these ideas could be of help to you. I know that these are the things that have really transformed my life. So if you like this content and you would like more content similar to this, then you should head over to our YouTube channel called A New Dream, where myself and my home dog Swizzle, Mitch, and I are making videos all about what it means to live a fulfilling life. I hope you're able to start shifting these identities because I know you are able to achieve some fantastic things and you are the one who holds the power to do so. As always, much love.